Welcome to another weekend here on the platform. My name is Sam Omashe. President Muhammadu Buhari, the APC, and his supporters are reveling in victory at last weekend's poll, while the other political parties who lost are licking their wounds. This weekend, we will review the presidential and National Assembly elections and make projections towards the governorship and state assembly elections scheduled for Saturday, March the 9th. The English language is Nigeria's official language, but so many people make common and avoidable errors, including those who are expected to have a good command of the language, including journalists. Well, over the course of the elections, the campaigns and elections, there have been some errors committed by journalists, whether in the print or electronic media, and we cannot pick all of them, but I thought that a few are worthy of our attention here because of the election. One of them is the expression neck to neck. I heard that in a number of voices and of the number of articles I read in the course of the campaigns and also during the election proper. The expression is not neck to neck, although ordinarily it sounds correct because you think that the neck is close to the neck. So it says neck to neck. But the correct expression is neck and neck. That is how the English language has said we should say it. Neck and neck. It's like a neck comes and then another neck comes. So they become very close. So that's why they use the expression neck and neck. That is used to describe a close race, whether in politics or sports or any other competitive environment or phenomenon. The candidates are neck and neck in the election, meaning they both stand a chance to win that election. It's often difficult for some people to differentiate between incidents or incidences and incidents. Incidence refers to the frequency or rate of occurrence of an event or phenomenon, while incident is the actual event or occurrence. We always see people saying that, you know, when they report, they say the incidences of corruption, they mean that there are so many acts of corruption. No, no, no. If you say the incidence of corruption, I'm talking about the rate of occurrence of corruption. Another very common one is when people say on ground. You say, what is on ground? It's supposed to say rather what is on the ground. From time to time, we shall be highlighting some of these errors that afflict us in the attempt to master the what we call Oyibo man's language. I have guests here, public affairs analyst Lekon Shote. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sam.
And Ambrose Igboke, you're welcome to the show too.
Thank you, Sam.
I discovered now that Andrews is a fellow Warri boy. Join me now to analyze the elections that just took place and also make projections towards March 9. Now, Buhari won the election. What are the highlights? What struck you about it? But before you say that, I want to say that before this election took place, many people were saying it was neck and neck, that it was close. I remember saying this show that it was going to be a landslide and that the election was going not to be close, but Buhari was going to get a hefty number over his opponent. But many people thought that it was going to be neck and neck. That's why we're making that error all the time, saying it was neck to neck or close. Well, so what stood out for you?
Well, Sam, I recall that sometime last year, towards the end of last year, while the campaign was hotting up, I wrote in my column, and I did say that my understanding is that the entire South and Southeast will be voting for former Vice President Atiku, and that the entire Southwest will be voting for Mr. President.
Yes.
I think I've been proven wrong there, in the sense that Oyo State and Ondo State went PDP.
Yeah.
And then I said that the Muslim Middle Belt, North Central, will be going for the president, and the Christian North Central will be going for the Vice President, former Vice President. And it happened the way I said. I said that the president would take the entire Northwest
and the entire Northeast.
And the entire Northwest. East. And somebody queried me that why do I think that the Vice President, former Vice President, will not sweep the entire Northwest. And I said, well, I recall that the Commissioner for Local Government in Adamawa State is also the son of the Lamido of Adamawa.
Yes.
Where Atiku Abubakar is the Waziri Adamawa next man. And he did say openly that we in Adamawa State will be voting for our son-in-law. He was very categorical. And for him to have come to say that so openly, I knew that whatever the Vice President did, there's no way he could take the North. And exactly. So I'm not going to say I'm too surprised at what happened. I saw it coming, and exactly as I thought. You know, no, I wasn't exactly accurate. Especially with the Southwest.
Ambrose, some things happened during the elections in terms of the results. Benue, people thought Benue was going to go almost a landslide for Atiku Abubakar because of Agatu killings, the very, very disturbing picture of the burial and the coffins and the persistent rhetoric of Governor Otom about the herdsmen and all of that. In that election, it was a narrow victory for Atiku. It was just about 7,000, so it was very close. In Nasarawa, where there was also this, there was also the problem of the herdsmen and also IDPs and all of that. And people say, well, this man has never won this place before. And I know a newspaper that gave it 60% to Atiku. And it turned out that Buhari eked out a victory there. Then even Adamawa, that was the mainstay of Atiku Abubakar, even lost in his own polling booth, and his victory was not that commanding in his own home state. Then you go to Plateau, where Atiku won, and the analysis is that he even got more votes than they thought he would have had in Plateau, given that it's a strong Christian background. Then you come to the Southwest. It's a different ballgame. You look at it and say, look, in the Southwest, Oyo State was seen as a given. That's right. And Ondo State was seen as a given. But it became close. But in spite of that, the votes that Buhari got was no pushover. It's not as if they won and then there was a swaggering victory over it. Then you went to Akwa Ibom, which was supposed to be a battleground state. And some people said it was never a battleground state before. In 2015, they had 98 votes for the Buhari. And in Delta, it was also very low. In the East, there was no even talk of winning the House of Rep and everything. So what would you say about some of the twists and turns and the unexpected results that came out of all of these?
Well, they have...
And that's not even talk about Sokoto too, where Buhari won by a landslide. And then it was very close, comparatively, this time around.
Well, there were so many exit polls before the elections started. And then those polls are proven just polls. Most of them didn't even do the research. They were just permutations.
Yes.
That's where, you know, armchair people sat in their rooms and did some permutations that, because it was so clear there are some traditional patterns and paradigms in election voting across the states. So when you tell me that APC will win in the Southwest, you're not telling me anything new, because this is, you know, this is where it was incubated.
Yes.
When you tell me that Buhari will win in the North, Northeast, Northwest, you are not telling me something new, because even Buhari, as a CPC member, as a CPC candidate,
drew a lot of following.
Drew a lot of following from there, had some massive votes from there, up to 12 million in one of the elections that he lost.
It did, yes.
So no, the permutations were they were just permutations. So these polls. Now, the surprising result was that there have been political alignments and realignments in the last 3.5 years.
Yes.
That influenced the voting system. The people were not actually looking, a lot of, like in Benue you said, it was not even about the herdsmen killing, and it was even about the political interest of the political gladiators in those states.
Good.
That is what actually determined these votes. Not, because when politicians come and want to do campaign, they want to divide us. They want to divide the masses along ethnic lines, along religious lines, along party lines, and along whatever that suits their own self-preservation. And then the people see beyond that, because the people are getting more politically sophisticated. Because this is 20 years of uninterrupted democracy. If they don't get political sophistry or sophistication here, then they are not human, because human beings grow and human beings learn. So there is nothing really strange in the patterns of the election.
But before the elections, some people were saying, oh, it was going to be close, we don't even know who will win, and then something like that. But you are saying that they are not surprising after the fact.
2 million votes, is 2 million votes to me. Is okay, the total number of votes is in the region of something million. And 10% of that is 3 million. So which means President Buhari defeated the PDP running mate, not up to 10% of the total votes. So I won't consider it a landslide in terms of percentages of the total number of votes when it comes to mathematically speaking. I get to the point now, because mathematically speaking, it falls between like 7% or 6 point something percent of the total number of votes.
Percentages can be deceptive. But when you look at the number of people, like in the US election, it was about 1 million votes in between Trump and Hillary Clinton. Trump won the election on the electoral college,
yes.
But the popular vote was actually a hefty number over him. Now that the elections are over, to some people this election is not over. There's still a lot of bitterness.
Very good. Well, let me say the two major political parties contrived a lot of lies, contrived a lot of divisions that were not there. They were playing the ethnic card when it suited them, even though they were not, they just felt that this is what will get the votes. There was also scaremongering, you know. And of course, there was this argument or this thinking that, you know, if the Yorubas vote for APC, in 2023, the presidency will come to the Yorubas. Yeah. If the Igbos vote PDP, it will go back to them, and then maybe Atiku will just spend four years and then award the presidency to the Southeast. All that played out, you know, and that there's no way that it did not affect the outcome of the election. Now, I recall people in my area, for example, when the vote was counted, everything, and it went the way it went, you know, I heard people saying we are waiting for them even at the governorship election in just about less than 2 weeks from now. You know, and I
just a week.
And they were a week, sorry, 2 weeks from then, and they were like, you know, the battle is like the battle is not over until it is over. So a lot of bitterness has been planted. People became very bitter, very unhappy, and then so when the outcome of the election, especially those natives of the social digital natives. Yes, digital natives. You know, those people, they are the ones that beat much of the bile.
Atiku has said that he has given 6 conditions for him to accept. And first of all, he said he beat his chest that he was not going to accept the election. And then there was this peace committee that came to him and he said he gave 6 conditions. One of the conditions was that they should unfreeze the accounts of opposition people who are undergoing an investigation or something like that.
You see, like I said in so many other platforms, at this stage we are now, this is not a time for political thumb chesting and say, oh, I dealt with them, I defeated them. And this is time for national healing. And therefore, politicians and their followers should mind their own trances, especially at this critical stage, knowing that elections are just 8 days away. And because the presidential election was a testing ground, the real battle is the 9th of March elections, because there, every other political party was united under one unity, the unity of purpose of electing their candidates for the presidency. Now, after that, they'll come back home and dig into their trenches.
Politics is local.
Yes, exactly. So now that is the main deal now, this 9th of March. Therefore, this is not the time for make demands. This is now time for thumb chesting. And saying, chest thumping and saying, oh, I want you to go and sleep or that. This is time for healing. And President Buhari, in his acceptance speech.
Buhari has not. In his acceptance.
No, you know what I'm saying? No, but his political acolytes are reeling out, are saying it. I get to the point. I listened to the chairman of the party yesterday, and I was like, why didn't he just toe the line of the president, you know, in this matter? Therefore, what we should do is that who is Atiku giving the conditions to? I don't understand. He said he was going to court. And
yeah,
the court,
but he was not giving the condition to. Was not giving the condition to anybody.
He was not giving the condition to anybody.
No, he said they're going to take it to Aso Rock.
Well, you know,
so they said those
people met at closed doors, okay, behind closed doors. So any other things filtering from that meeting they had with Atiku is in the realm of speculation.
No, but the condition cannot. But
it's in the realm of speculation.
No, the condition cannot but be that. Buhari has to fulfill them.
We don't fabricate what that.
No, they couldn't have fabricated it.
Those kind of people. The issue was that there was no press conference by those people.
They don't have to. They don't have to.
Stating those things, and there was no document from them. So everything is
okay. Let's put it like this.
Because what we said that they had the meeting behind closed doors. Journalists were not even allowed in that meeting. That's right. So every other thing, every document emanating from their so-called meeting is in the realm of grapevine,
speculation,
and speculation. Okay. But what we are, if truly those things. With a caveat now, if those things were through, then we need to start re-examining, because in one of the fora where I was, you know, before when he made that statement of saying that there should be an amnesty, I was against it. That means it's a license to do anything you want. Because when you do that, I know that you will go back. So you will know that, well, I thought that cliche has expired.
No. It's why I came back. He came back during the campaign. Because if you say that you should unfreeze them, in other words, it's carte blanche.
Under the presidency of Jonathan, the militants and even to an extent the leadership of the South actually made that one of the conditions for
lessening of tension.
And a lot of people stood against that. No, don't say that. Don't bring that kind of issue up. It's almost like you're saying that it's okay for people to be stealing money. That is not good.
Now, I was vehemently against that.
Yeah, and if now that you are saying this is in the realm of speculation now, if indeed that was one of the conditions given by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for cooperating with his government, that is a no-no. And it was #1 condition.
Yes, it was #1 condition.
It was #1 condition.
Every other thing
however,
was
the other conditions are strong. Don't militarize the election and so on. And so. Fine points. But that one was a just a no-no.
They also evaluated the election, as Sam has asked. I must give kudos to the two main political actors. That is President Muhammadu Buhari and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. In the way they have, you know, their utterances. Because any of them would have ignited the nation if they wanted to. That's right. In the aftermath of the election, by the words they say. But I listened to the speech of the president, you know, coming, you know, this is not time, this is the time for inclusive, no. And then also Atiku made his own statement and said he was going to
was almost statement-like.
So I love the statesmanship so far displayed by both parties. And I think politicians at the lower rank
there's also one aspect,
you know,
because we don't have much time, there's also one aspect we want to look, I observed. You discover that in Tony areas where rich people were, they voted for Atiku.
Exactly.
And where you had poor people. Generally, apart from the ones that had ethnic, geographic statements, you know, they tend to. Why was that? I remember in VI, in Banana Island,
in the vice president's polling unit.
Are you asking Lagos? Does Lagos
in Abuja?
Yes.
In Aso Rock.
Yes. Although they also said that, other than that, there was also the religious aspect of it, where some pastors actually campaigned openly on their pulpits against against the candidate, and so on. And all of these call for introspection, and that people should not think that they can will the elections from the pulpit because they call themselves persons of God. You know, things like that.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I think I observed that as you said, in the Tony upscale areas, it appears that PDP won in those areas.
Yeah.
And then some people now took that in a negative perspective. Yes. That it then means that the privileged during the PDP era who are no longer enjoying what
free money.
Yes. Are bitter and angry.
Yes.
And want to destroy the party or the presidential candidate who, shall we say,
who stood in their way.
Who stood in their way. So that is a very dangerous calculation, as far as I'm concerned. And,
what do you mean by calculation? Calculation by whom? By the analysts or by the voters?
Maybe the analysts, you know.
But if it is true.
But by the voters, really, if it is true. I'm sorry. I want to say by the voters.
GRA Keja, it also was like that.
Yeah, but I want to say the voters, if it is true that voters are thinking along that line. In any case, somebody said that political parties are formed to advance
interests.
Exactly. So maybe, and in any case, nobody can really hold you responsible for voting the way you vote. That is why in more mature democracies, you have the conservatives, and they make no bones about it.
Yes, this is what you stand for.
This is what they stand for. And then there are the liberals.
Yes.
Gun liberty.
And they stand for it openly. Yes. And they even have journalists, columnists who are actually in the vanguard
of those
expressing the interests of those people. And they don't make any pretenses about it. However, it then means that might be gradually the idea of stomach infrastructure is not just about people giving you bag of gari, bag of rice, bag of sugar. It's also somebody who may stand in your way of claiming to import fuel, and without actually importing anything, or over-invoicing.
All those are all
and then getting paid.
That's free money.
This is another stomach infrastructure thing.
Yes, it's stomach infrastructure.
So we have to...
Yes, as I always say, we should have infrastructure for the stomach, not infrastructure of the stomach.
You know.
And that's it. Now, how do we see this thing going? March 9. There are some flashpoints of this election. Ogun, Imo, Sokoto, Plateau, Benue.
Yes.
Benue.
Well, the 9th March is actually my most, was why I expressed fear for 9th March, not for the February 23. Because there are pockets of intra-party in those states. Intrigues. Intra-party activities. Ogun State, as you mentioned, is a very clear flashpoint. I mean, they are the heavyweights. The contenders there are heavyweights in their own right. And even the intra-party problem. With this suspension of Amos Fagin, is going to heighten the tensions. When you go to Benue between Susuan, Otom, and Co., it is a battleground for them. But we should appeal that the INEC has learned a lot, during the presidential election. They should put that in place and ensure that the flashpoints are well covered.
Yeah.
And Nigerians, the citizens, should make sure that these politicians don't use them as talks.
Okay, last word.
Well,
We are wrapping up.
the election, May 23rd election has shown a pattern.
A pattern, yeah.
And some people say, okay, maybe there will be bandwagon effect.
Yes.
But some people have also said that some people are going to now dig in.
Yes.
You recall some time ago, up till middle of last year, Ekiti State was the only PDP state in
the Southwest.
And it was, shall we say, a watering hole for the opposition in the Southwest.
A convergence point.
Exactly. Now, the way the presidential election went in the South-South and the Southeast, people here there whom we might want to call the potentates in those areas will want to dig in and ensure that they actually retain the governorship to be able to fight back or make a statement against the federal government of the APC. Okay, and then we also have some other states where there are flashpoints, like Akwa Ibom, where there is going to be a keen contest between the sitting governor and the others who felt that they were kind of shortchanged during the presidential and the coming rebound. We also have Sokoto, where the sitting governor thinks that he made enough inroads to assure himself a second term. So we'll see how all of those pan out. And we have the case of Plateau, where in 2015 the president lost as he lost now, but then the APC won in the governorship. So people are saying we are going to have a repeat of history. So we are waiting to see how all of this will pan out.
The permutations continue.
The permutations continue. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching the program today. You can catch up with my published columns and articles on my website, www.samomashei.com. Also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @SamOmashei. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, be good.